The Glory Game, brought to you by Hull Spares, an official Tottenham supporters group. Right, okay. Welcome to episode 5, I think, of the Glory Game. The Spares podcast brought to you by the official Hull Spares supporters group. Today we've got with us Joe O'Donnell.
Now then.
We've got Simon Winter.
No,
And we've got Pete Thompson.
Hello.
How are we all doing, fellas?
well, better than can be expected.
So
After
today's
a straight week. Go on.
going to be a tough one, I should imagine. So just to recap, after the week that we've had, we got beat by the Woolwich Wanderers 2-1, which was a bit of a shitter. And then to further that, we got knocked out of the Europa League by Dynamo Zagreb 3-0 on the night. There's going to be a lot to pick through, so I guess let's just start the Arsenal game. And Joe, tell us what you thought about the Arsenal game.
Where was the passion? That's my only. Where the hell was the passion? You know, like I know it gets slated a lot, not just here, but like around kind of like the Spurs fandom. But the only player I can pick out that showed any kind of heart or desire was the player that got sent off. You know, he wore time and time again. Don't get me wrong. Like he wears his heart on his sleeve, but Lamella, like he was the only player to me that stood out. You know, and in a game like them lot, what you need that passion, you need that desire to go, and even if it is just a nick the game at the death sort of goal, you need players like that to show up. And it's just we didn't have enough of them. That's the only way I can describe the Arsenal game. It's just a deflating performance. I think that's the only way I can say it.
It was shocking. It was shocking. I was lucky enough not to have to be subjected to the full game. I had to go. I had to go drop my missus off at work. But yeah, as Joe says, the only player on the pitch seemed to be Lamella, who had the passion to go out there. And I know, obviously, Joe mentioned as well that Lamella does get slated by a lot of our fans. That was his first red card for us. It just goes to show he's I think he's a decent player, but he does have little niggles, but he never takes it too far. I think it was, from what I've seen, I think it was a bit hard done by for a red.
Yeah. Simon, what do you think to the Arsenal game?
Well, it's a derby match. I mean, we all come from Hull, and we know what the rugby league derby match is like. Everybody's up for it. And for one, like Joe's just mentioned, Lamella, he was the only one who was just sort of like, just picked himself up and thought, I haven't any of this. I'm doing it. And obviously it's cost him a red card, but the rest of the team, why couldn't they get themselves up for it? We needed a captain in there to say, look, this is the biggest game of the season. If you're not up for it, there's the door. Instead of walking around the pitch, moping and that, raise the game.
Yeah,
I just want to.
Paul, won't we?
I just want to like the Amazon documentary. One of the first things Mourinho said was that we're too nice, and I think we're too nice to each other at times as well. It's not, oh, no, you can have the ball. No, you can have the ball. It's just like, no, someone tell him, right, I want the ball and I want it there. You know what I mean? Like that's the way our team should be. But we're not. We're too nice to each other. We're too like a group of mates and not a football team. And you need that kind of togetherness, like that mentality of that you are mates. But when it comes to being on the pitch, you do need someone to say, right, actually, I want that ball there. You should have done that better. You know, like Højbjerg showed it. I don't know how many times this season. We know he's got that potential to be that bossy, arrogant, knows what needs to be done, roll your sleeves up and like sort of attitude.
He had a shocker though, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was the worst game I've seen him play.
It wasn't his best game. But, I mean, just jumping ahead a bit to Thursday night's game and what was said afterwards. Obviously, Lloris came out and said some very interesting things, which I don't think the team are friendly. I think there is a lack of togetherness, like what we had under Pochettino. I think there was a togetherness there, and Hugo did say that in as many words, but he's come out and said that it's not there.
I think there's definitely a divide, and I think it stems from the ones who aren't getting in the team. I think you can see the body language of people like Winks, Ali. I'd say Vinicius, but no, because he's been all right actually. But when they get subbed off, even Dembele sometimes, even when they get subbed off, you can just see in the body language, you're like, why am I getting subbed off? You know, I'm bigger than this team, and sadly for them, they're absolutely not, because they've been awful for too long now, and I think that's half the problem.
I would say about Ndombele though, I'd take that one.
Yeah, well, I think
when he gets subbed off, he does look sort of like, you know, his head's down and he's sort of walking off. But I think it's just because he's absolutely shattered. Because some of the games that he plays, I mean, how many fouls does he take in a game? You know, just from, and he's got such a low center of gravity. He's always low, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. So I think he's just shattered. I think that's why he walks off like that most of the time when he's subbed. But yeah, everybody else. I mean, you know, Winks and getting subbed off on Thursday. Yeah, he had it on his face, didn't he? Where he wasn't happy. And to be fair, he didn't have I like Winks. I like Winks as a player. I think we've not seen his full potential. I don't think we play him in the right position. But still, attitude needs to not be there. I think it's just growing more frustration from them sort of fringe players. And it's showing more.
I think so. I think if I can just talk about the Arsenal game just for a little bit longer, I think for me what was really glaring obvious and what set us apart, and there's been a trend of this all season, is the energy and the press from Arsenal, the desire to win the ball, the speed at which they did win the ball and closed us down. It just left us in bits, because even on Thursday night, our problem all season, I think, has been when teams close us down and they play a high press and they're fast. You look at the players that just crumble under the stress of that. They crumble game after game. And that's what happened with Arsenal. They wanted the game more. And whether it's tiredness as well, because we have played a hell of a lot of games this season. So I do slightly feel for the team in that respect, because it's not just physically draining to play Olympic games, it's mentally draining as well. So whether that's got something to do with it as well, but yeah, the desire was just nowhere near what Arsenal's was, and that's why we lost that game. I don't think it was really because they didn't want to beat Arsenal and the passion wasn't there. I just think that we have got no plan against these teams who really take it to us. We just crumble.
Yeah.
You know, against so many teams this season. Brighton did it away to Brighton. They pressed so quick and so hard on us that we haven't got the players who are skillful enough to get out of them situations without making mistakes. I don't know, guys. That's the trend I see. What do you think of that? Because
well, as also I saw on Sunday against the Arsenal game, Arsenal found it so easy to pinpoint one area for the Spurs defence, the right back and the right centre defence. Every attack there went more or less. It started or ended up there.
We'll have all said it before the game. Yeah. We'll have all said
Doherty, Sanchez, when they're on the team sheet, teams are knowing now. Yeah, just attack the ball in that corner or play it into the corner.
Yeah.
So obvious.
He's an absolute poor player in my eyes, Doherty.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt this season. So far, you know, he's had some shocking games. I think he's had some good games. A couple of stints in games where he's looked good. But you know, it was at Wolves for how long? I think he came through the academy at Wolves, didn't he? And then he's playing a different position to when he was at Wolves, and sometimes that gets. There's a lot of changes gone through, I think. And so that's why I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just not seeing it. You know, I'm not seeing any sort of desire or improvement. If anything, I think he may well have got worse. However, I will say about Sanchez, I think he's looked brilliant over the last few games. I think he's looked really good. Not, you know, I think still someone to be nervous about, but he's definitely improved. I think from having Toby next to him, I think that's definitely improved him rather than Dyer.
You could pinpoint that with any of our defence, though. Like, you've always got the inexperienced centre back. They need somebody to grab him, like the same with like Højbjerg, but you need somebody to grab him by the scruff of the neck and turn around and say, "Look, this is what you need to do. You stay in that position. I've got this side." And we don't have somebody who's without having your veteran. We don't have someone to say, "Do you know what? I can back my ability. I know I'm a good defender." We don't have that. I mean, like, we've got Joe Rodon, like, what, or Jaffet. Why not? Why not take a chance on the youngsters?
We'd be no worse off, would we? We'd be absolutely no worse off than playing them two players. I think Toby's been good. I don't think he's put much wrong. It's whether or not he can play the games every game, though. I mean, he's only 31, 32. I think he's just turned.
I think that's the issue, though.
37, though, is it? I mean, sure.
No.
He's got a lot of work to do, hasn't he? I mean, you know, if you put him in a game where we haven't got, if we put Sissoko in the midfield in that sort of holding role next to Højbjerg or next to Ndombele, our defence has got so much more work to do because they've got no support there, really. You know, it's like we've got several players that just need to go, just leave.
I agree with you on Sanchez, though. I think he has looked pretty decent. The problem I have with him, though, is he's just still got a mistake that leads to a goal in every game. Every game, there's something that will happen where he'll make a fuck. And the same with Dyer, and the same with Davis, and all these players. It seems like they can't go throughout a game without nervously making a mistake that leads to a goal. Or, I mean, that fucking penalty against Arsenal. I mean, it shouldn't have been a penalty, but
you see,
I feel sorry for him in a bit. I feel sorry for him a bit.
Where was VAR on that, though?
Well,
because I think the VAR is actually, well, I mean, I know they looked at it and confirmed it was a penalty, but I mean, he mishit the ball and he fell over himself.
The ref on, does the ref watch on Sky Sports News?
Yeah.
He said on the Monday after, he said that because basically something along the lines of VAR can't intervene on a decision that's already been made on the pitch.
What?
Yeah, something like it was something on the lines of that. He basically was just like said VAR can't overrule what the referee has already put down.
Yeah, but he couldn't. The VAR can go, well, I think you really need to go have a look at this on the monitor. Oh, that's what they should be saying.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
It seems to have gone from one extreme to the other with VAR because the beginning of the season, it was everywhere. And every game, there was decisions being made through VAR and things were getting checked and it was taking a long time. And I think it's great that it's not taking as long and they're letting play go on and then taking things back if they need to. But I don't think it's as clear anymore.
No.
At least before you knew there was a check going on, they did it quite thoroughly. But yeah,
they're trying to make it better as they've introduced it. They're trying to tweak it as they go along, and it always seems to be us who just pays for that. With the Dyer thing, the handball against Newcastle, all these things, and I know they were unlucky that it, that was a penalty against Newcastle and a penalty against Arsenal, but it's still the same players that are unlucky. Do you know what I mean? It's always the same players who are making them mistakes.
Like, my opinion on Dyer has changed so much. It's gone from, he's got a decent game in him, he's got a decent game in him, to now it's just, I don't see. If I'm being honest, I think he's been riding on the Euros or the World Cup he had. I can't remember which one it was that he had where he impressed, but I think he's been riding off that ever since.
I think it's the World Cup, wasn't it?
I don't see what he brings. I don't see what he brings anymore.
I've always said that from day one. And how on earth he's got in that England squad is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it? That the latest English squad that he's in, I honestly can't believe it. I think he's the biggest fraud of a footballer. You know what? I feel terrible because these are Spurs players, but it's got to the stage now where I've absolutely had enough of this, of some of these players. I just can't even bear to see him in a Spurs shirt anymore. And it's the same ones that I've just been banging on about every single podcast, and I can't stand the sight of him any longer. I really can't, and I hate to say that.
We need a big shake-up.
And
There needs to be,
And I think leading to the Jose Mourinho out thing. I'm not saying he's covering himself in glory. I don't think he is, but certainly if they get another manager in, he's going to have the same problems with that squad.
Yeah, it's hard to blame. Jose isn't blameless for any of this. I don't think. I think his man management has maybe led to some of the issues of what we've got, but also the players aren't playing. He can only do his best and pick the best 11 to start the game for that game, and if they go out there and they don't perform, if you look at any given game, our starting 11, how many out of the 11 would you say go out and play a proper game and try the hardest every single game? I think I could probably pick maybe 4 players out of a starting 11 that would probably go out and try their hardest every single game, and that's not good enough.
Well, the thing is, even Son's dropped off now, hasn't he? I mean, a month ago he was brilliant, and he's just sort of like gone downhill now, just like an average player.
I think he's just tired.
Yeah, I think Son's tired. I think he's had too many games. He's 5-6 games now. He's not looked right,
and I think that the injury, I think changed that Arsenal game actually. But I think it's come at the right time. Just before an international break, he's getting a few games out. He's now not going to be going away with the national team, so he's got a little bit longer rest period. He's going to, hopefully recover and come back a bit fresher. I mean, he always looks quite fresh when he comes back from injuries, even little niggles and stuff like that. And I think he's just the kind of player that you can use and keep using, but we've used him too much. We've found his limit. I mean, comparing it to what was it a couple of seasons ago where he was like the most travelled football player on the planet. He played with Spurs in Premier League, in Champions League. Then he was away with South Korea, and then he did his national service. Then he was back, and then he played with South Korea again, and he racked up some miles, and he still looked quite fresh after that. But
I think this Europa League's killed us. It's killed us. What do you think, Joe?
Oh God, Europa League. Where do we even start? Well, first off, I think I'll go on Mourinho throwing the team under the bus the way he did. I'll start there. I do not agree with, even though the players are to blame as well. I do not agree with going public and saying, my team were at fault. All he had to do was it did the all. I apologize to all Tottenham fans, blah blah blah. But that's all it has to be. You don't have to say anything. The facts that I don't know if you've read the social media, but the facts that he didn't speak to any of the Tottenham players after the game and went into the Zagreb changing room and congratulated all of them, and just apparently they got back to London, still nothing. So to me, that kind of
to be honest though, Joe, I can't blame him. I just cannot blame him for that performance on Wednesday night. I can't blame him for not talking to him.
Oh yeah, no,
it was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. That's one of the worst performances I've ever seen from Spurs.
We don't call him out at all, never, even very little. But even Harry Kane, what was it like? He looked like it might be tiredness, but he looked like he was just on there for a jolly. Just didn't, on the pitch jogging. Didn't really seem to perform.
No pressing at all. No pressing, was there?
The thing with Kane, I think, and I think it was highlighted in that game. You know, as I mentioned, in a starting 11, I think there's probably 3 or 4 players that look like they'll go out and play a game. Kane's always one of them, and I think in that game he's just gone. None of these people care. Yeah. Why am I? He's going. I'm gone in the summer, and I honestly can't blame him. If that's how he's gone, and that's his sort of thoughts is, I'm here. I'm trying my absolute hardest to win trophies, to improve our club, to do this, to do that, and I'm surrounded by people that just don't care. I just don't want to play for them. You know, it said quite a lot about football, and I always try and hesitate to say these sort of things because I don't think it's the players' faults how much they get paid, but they're paid a wage to do a job. It's still the job at the end of the day. All right, it's a pretty decent job to have going out and playing football all the time with your mates and that. But they're robbing people. You know, if that was me in my job, I'd be gone. And it's, you know, it does get to me. But I think that's what's got to Kane. I think that's why he didn't look a shadow of the player that he's been this season on Thursday night.
I think the team's so handicapped by certain players, though. I really do feel like half of that team, and I said it I think on the group chat and Facebook, I'd sell 6 of them first teamers that started that game. I think we're so handicapped by their abilities. I don't think it's from lack of trying. I think they're really suffering from confidence, but ultimately they just are not good enough to play in a team that wants to be in a top 4 and a Champions League and cup finals. They're just not good enough, and they haven't been good enough for years. And I'm willing to give Mourinho the benefit of the doubt because these players have had longer than he has to do it. And if they was going to do it, they'd have done it by now. People like Davis, people like Dyer, Sanchez to a degree, Aurier, who we keep giving chance to, Sissoko, who was an absolute disgrace the other night. I was disgusted with his performance. And Winks, if they was going to do it, they'd have done it by now. And it's time to just get them out because they're rotting the team to the core. And it might sound a bit dramatic, but we will not go anywhere further than what we are now with them players in the team. They're not even good squad players anymore. They're just players who suffer confidence.
I think it's there's a number of key areas that we need to improve on in there, but it just goes to show that over the last couple of seasons, we've all been blasting Aurier as being a terrible player. And now how many of us want him in the squad instead of Dirty? You know what I mean?
That's the alternative. That is how bad we've got. What's the alternative? Is Doherty. We had Walker and Trippier 4 seasons ago or whatever, and the quality that's diminished from having them type of players to Doherty and Aurier. Aurier last season was one of the worst players I've ever seen. Yet we're all happy that he starts games now, and you're right, Pete. That's how far we've fallen with some of these players because we haven't shipped them out.
I will give Aurier some credit. He has improved this season on last season. He's still got mistakes in him, but I still feel he's better than Doherty. And as I say, that's how bad we've got him. But I do think he has definitely improved this season.
Just a quick sad question. What about the players we've got out on loan? Sessegnon, Skip. You know, would you start integrating them back into the first team?
I think that's the plan, especially with Skip, because he's had a fantastic loan at Norwich. They'll love him there. Yeah. You know, and he'll come back with a championship winners medal by the looks of things. So he's gone somewhere. He's had a fantastic loan, and that'll give our midfield. You know, he's a player very much in the same sort of ilk as what Højbjerg is. So you put them two on the pitch, our defence will suddenly look better because they've got a lot more support from 2 good players. Sessegnon again, you know, Davies will probably get shipped out maybe when Sessegnon comes back. He's had a good loan as well. He's at Hoffenheim. He's had a good loan. So then we'll have decent left back options. We'll have Reguilon or Sessegnon.
I think Jack Clark can play a defender as well, can't he? Or is he attacking?
Right, isn't he?
He's a winger, isn't he?
Side.
Yeah, he's a winger. Yeah,
Right winger.
But even there, like bring Jack Clark up, and you've got like say we for some reason we keep Bale or get rid of him. You know, we're gonna have this youngster in Jack Clark who's gonna be there, pretty much ready. There must be a reason we bought him from Leeds for, was it 10 million?
Yeah, it wasn't a small sum, was it, for a youth project as such?
I don't think that's our pain point, though, is it? To me, if you've got someone like, I don't know, Brighton's back four and put them in our team, apart from Reguilon, would be miles better. Just with Brighton's back four. So for me, you've got to ship out them players who were just. Yeah. Look at that third goal the other night. The third goal that killed us, and he took on about 3 or 4 players. Aurier, Sissoko, I think it was Sanchez as well. He ran past all 3 of them. Yeah, that is our problem.
I don't mind somebody beating the first player. You know, it's a game of football that he's going to, at some point somebody's going to get past you. You can't be a rock the whole time. So, but I mean, to then go past another 2 or 3 players that's when it really hurts. Yeah. And especially when I watched a replay of that goal a couple of times, and everybody's just, well, I don't really like singling out people, but Sissoko has just really, really got to me over the last few months. Last season, you know, he's just stood there. He's just stood. He didn't even get close to him. He walked to try and stop him. You're never gonna, you know.
Do you know, I feel bad because it feels like I've got an agenda against these players, and I kind of have in a way. But I think to myself, am I the only one who sees this? He's so bad. What does he do? Tell me. Can anyone tell me what he actually does as a midfielder? What does he do with quality?
Steal a living.
I can't think of anything he does.
He looks like. Whenever he gets the ball, he's scared. You know what I mean?
Nervous,
this is the frustrating thing. He always, like, he's got room to turn and run, and maybe bring the ball up the field a little bit. Oh, it doesn't matter if it doesn't come to anything. At least he's moving the ball up the field and then pass it. But sometimes, you know, you'll get Sanchez will pass to him, or Dyer, or Toby, or Højbjerg will pass to him, and it's straight back. And then they'll pass to him again. It's like, no, it's straight back. Then they'll pass to him again, and it's straight back. And they go, right, okay, I'll find somebody else then. And sometimes that then leads to us being in a position where we had a bit of space that was open with Sissoko, and Højbjerg was in trouble somewhere or something like that. You know, there was players closing other players down. That's why we needed to go that way. And we end up having, you know, misplacing a pass, or it gets cut off by an opposition player. And then the through-on goal, and we've conceded, or, you know, come close to conceding. And I don't get why it doesn't turn. It never turns.
But then we've got the same problem again, though, because you looked at the game the other night. All our passage of play was started by Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, or Sissoko. These are the players that are starting the passage of play. I mean, when you look at that side, what the hell did we expect when we got Sanchez and Dyer in the back four, and then Winks and Sissoko in middle? And then just terrible fullbacks. There's no reason we didn't. That's the reason why we got beat. I just can't see why it's all on Mourinho's head. It's these players are not good enough. And
I saw a stat that was very, very amazing. I don't know if any of you have seen the same stat, but it was about Giovanni Lo Celso. I think it was 5 minutes after he had come on, he'd completed more forward passes than Winks and Sissoko had completed whilst they had been on the pitch together combined.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It just, yeah.
It's really tough, isn't it? It's really tough, guys. I mean, we've said for weeks, and ever since we started this podcast a couple of months ago, we've said the same thing every episode of what players are letting us down. Realistically, Joe, Simon, how many of these players are we going to ship out in the summer? Or is the manager going to go first? What do you predict is going to happen?
It's not a case of how many we're going to ship out. It's how many can we ship out? Who's going to buy them? And for what price? We're going to have to make a lot of losses to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. And let's be completely honest. Levy's not going to do that.
I know, that's the problem.
In reality, though, there was only really Sanchez who cost us money, wasn't it? Well, Aurier as well, I guess. But I don't think
Circle's
Davis-
30 million.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And he signed a 5-year deal not too long ago, didn't he? As well. So
Yeah.
do you think it's kind of linked then? This and I mentioned it a few podcasts ago, but the very fact that Jose probably does want these players out at the end of the season, they're comfortable because they've been here for years. So they're probably thinking, well, I don't want to go out. I'd rather the manager get sacked. So I'm going to try and get him sacked. Do you think that has something to do with it?
Comfort. We've got state-of-the-art training facilities. We've got a brand new stadium. They're getting well pampered and looked after. Comfort. Cost of thinking that. It's with everything that's going on in the world. Unfortunately, it's a dog-eat-dog world. And, it's the case of, I can save my job if we get rid of you, sort of thing. It's you look at some of these players, like you say, your Dyers, your Sissoko's, your Wings. They're probably after us. They're probably never going to see the state of the art sort of facilities and the sort of standard of football that we're expecting ever again. So
I agree 100%. Who's going to sign these players?
Probably championship teams getting promoted.
I don't even
Don't
think.
know.
I think the level of wages they're on, I don't think Championship would be able to afford. We'd have to ship them out to some foreign leagues where they've not really seen them, because there's no English club paying 30-40 million for Dyer.
But he doesn't owe us that much. Dyer's probably an easy one to get to ship out.
Everton.
Winks
I
again.
think Ali would be. Ali would be a good one to ship out. I'd get rid of him.
I think we missed an opportunity in January, not sending him to PSG. I still think Ali's got it. Genuinely think Ali's still got it. I think his attitude may be the issue, and I think the environment that he's in is the issue.
Well, Ali's only a couple months younger than me, and it's like, for somebody who's probably been playing football all his life, and someone that young to make how old was he when he joined us? Was he 17, 18?
I think he was 18, wasn't he?
Yeah, like for somebody going from a humble league like League One all the way to starting Premier League games and scoring left, right, and centre, he's going to have that wonder boy sort of Premier League darling sort of attitude, isn't he? And in a way, it's not that you can't blame him, but when you in that kind of bubble, I suppose, and you're riding high all this time, how can you not? It's you're a young man, the best at one of the best at his craft at times, and how can you not have the ego the size of 10 houses? And I'm not blaming him for that, but at the same time, it's no excuse. He should have taken this public verbal beating that he got from Jose, and it's gone. I think it's gone the way that a lot of us expected it to. Is sulked and even was it? I can't remember who pointed it out, but it might have been Poch. But even Poch said that he's a lazy trainer. So you can tell that he doesn't like training. He'd rather just go out and do the thing on the pitch, do the job on the pitch. So then and you know what Jose is like. He's all about training. If you don't put your all into training, then you're not getting into the team. Which
application, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
an effort, which is what we're struggling with.
And it's just, I think we did miss the trick with even if we sent him on a loan, send him to PSG, send him back to Poch, give him that kind of, I don't want to say mollycoddling, but give him that kind of, give him what he wants. He didn't want to be here. Give him what he wants. Send him out on loan and bring him back. And if his attitude hasn't changed in the 6 months that he was away, then you get rid of him permanently.
which I think would still be easy to get rid of Dele Alli. I do. I think there will be people willing. There's people willing to pay money for him. I mean, PSG wanted to buy him. Not just loan him. They wanted to buy him. So I think there's definitely people out there. I mean, the ones I'm struggling with is where the hell do you sell Sissoko? Who's going to buy him?
As I said before at the start, if I have to see another season with Sissoko and Dyer and Aurier and Davis playing, I just don't think I can handle it, because I've said for years that these players aren't good enough. That's why I don't really want to get a new manager in at the moment, because I think that'd be a waste of money as well. You imagine getting Nagelsmann in, or Nagelsmann, however you pronounce it, which I think, Joe, you've said that there's been some links today. Is that right?
Yeah, I read on Twitter that by the sounds of it, in some form or another, we're on about getting rid of Jose in summer regardless. The Carabao Cup's not going to save him. It's going to be a top 4 finish, or he's gone.
We need Champions League, don't we? At the end of the day, that's it. We need Champions League.
We need Champions League players then. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
We need Champions League players or players to get us there. Sorry, Joe.
I was just going to back Pete up a little bit. We've got a Champions League final quality stadium. We haven't got the players nor the prestige at the minute to play on these sorts of stages. We've not. Let's be realistic with the performances we're putting out at the minute. Could you imagine those teams playing out against Real Madrid, Dortmund, Munich? Would be annihilated.
Yeah,
would be an absolute embarrassment.
I mean, let's be fair. We had a semi-decent team playing Munich, and we got embarrassed.
For me, it sounds doom and gloom. I think really is the defensive part of that squad that is really bringing us down, and I just can't see what a new manager would do. I don't think any other manager would do a better job with these players. I really don't.
I think it's going to take Mr. Levy in particular, him to kind of, I don't know how to, it's going to take him to bite his tongue and say, if we do bring Nagelsmann in as an example, to say, you know what, checkbook's there, all yours, your squad, you do what you want with it. And then have the manager take total control of the squad. But then even then, like I said, who's going to sign these players that we want rid of?
Look at his team that he's had for Leipzig the last couple of years. The young, fit players who can press. Look, when we played them last season Champions League, they pressed us because of the fitness levels. That's what Poch did. He had younger players then. We haven't got the players who can press now because they're all that little bit older. They're all slower. Sissoko pressing. You've never seen it. Or Dyer. I mean, look at Dyer. He comes out and presses and just gets it all wrong all the time. He either commits a foul. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of sick of saying the same thing. But also, just to lead on from that, I'm kind of sick of thinking about Spurs, if I'm honest. I've tried, after that game the other night, I've tried to think, look, it's just a game. It's one of them games that will go down in history as a terrible night. But I'm not going to try and let it affect me because it's just, this season has been terrible. It's just up and down. And it's kind of, we're all in lockdown, feeling shit anyway. It's just making me feel terrible watching that team. Just the quality of the players.
To make, the first thing I said to my missus after Thursday night's game was, "Now I know how Ajax fans feel." You know what I mean?
At least they win stuff, though, Pete. They win stuff every now and again.
No. But after that, I can imagine them feeling like this after that Champions League exit. I know it wasn't as nailed on for them, but yeah,
it's tough.
Anyway,
let's we're obviously we don't want to speak about that game any longer because it was depressing. So was the Arsenal game. So let's move on to the members' questions. Then we've got Joe. This is your first podcast that you've been on.
Yeah.
I think Sam's got some questions for you. Get to know you a bit better.
Right then, Joe. Your name and your age
Joe O'Donnell, and I'm 24.
And how long have you supported Spurs?
Oh, I'd say 20 years now.
And why Spurs?
My dad's some like easy enough. It was drilled into me from a very early age that Tottenham were going to be my team, and that's the way it's been ever since.
And your favourite player ever?
Oh,
I don't know if that includes Spurs or any other player.
Well, my favorite ever player has got to be Robbie Keane. Just I grew up my first game was his debut, and I just love the bloke. I've just never not every time he does pundits for Sky now, or you see his face pop up on whatever, it just my face lights up because it just I love him.
A lot of boyhood clubs, didn't he, Keane?
Oh yeah.
Every club I think he joined, he said there was his boyhood club.
Even LA Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we've got your favourite current player, which would be quite hard.
Gareth Bale.
Right, and your best Spurs memory beyond the Champions League run?
Again, I'll have to go with my first Spurs game. It was Spurs Everton, and we won 4-3. It was a Robbie Keane hat trick. It's great.
Right, that's all them answered.
Lovely. Thanks for that.
Right, are we moving on to the questions on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or is that for later on?
Yeah, let's do the questions now, and then are we doing an update on the predictions league?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, we can do it. Well, yeah, we can do a prediction league update after the question.
Okay, let's do that then.
Right, we've got a question from Carl Forston. Yeah, will Loris be dropped for Villa after his telling all, and how divided the team is with his interview? And will he become the next one Josie turns on?
I don't think he will.
It's a tough one to call that.
I don't know how you can, if you ask me. Is the club captain? You drop the club captain. What does that say to everybody else in the team?
Yeah,
we're already deflated. What else? What does it say that you drop the club captain?
I think if he dropped him, if you drop a club captain, I think it gives everybody else a kick up the ass. However, he wouldn't be dropping him for the way that he's been playing. He'd be dropping him for something he's said, which I don't think would galvanise the team. So I don't think he will do it, to be fair. I think he'll play against Villa.
That'd be the worst thing to do, to fuel the media as well, because that'll just fuel the media of running stories that he's lost the dressing room. So I can't see why he would do that.
No.
I don't think he deserves to do that as well. I think Lloris is perfectly inclined to say them things. I think any other players would have said that, to be fair, if they would have been interviewed after the game.
Yeah.
Right, the next question I pinched off one of the Tottenham Facebook pages. Is Kane the problem? And the reason, won't stand up. It won't stay up front, so defences never need to sit back. Commands set pieces, and he's shit at them. Won't play a simple ball when needed. His effect is having at the best effects on the squad at all times. Think he needs the manager to kick his balls, to bring him in line and get the best out of him up front instead of all over the pitch. Which I thought about that, and it's actually right. Yeah, King's going all over the pitch, and if he's in your space, in your position, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Why are you here? Go up front. So when it comes to say the defenders, you're trying to ping a long ball up, they can't, because who's up front? Nobody.
Yeah, I think there is a point there, isn't there? If he's not up front, who have we got? You haven't got that long ball. But on the same token, is Kane doing all that because he's seeing people not pulling the weight and going, well, I'm going to have to pull my finger out here and do.
I don't think he trusts the players around him.
No, he trusts Son. You can see it. Them two have got a brilliant partnership.
Even him and Bale, you can see like there's some form of partnership forming,
Yeah,
but I think it's more your midfielders. He just doesn't trust the players that he's got behind him, so Kane has to track back because otherwise, who else is going to do the job?
yeah.
I agree both, but I do think he's starting to get a little bit frustrating to watch him not be in positions where. I mean, even the other night, there was times when the ball was going into the box and there was nowhere near the box. And I'm thinking, he's the bloody striker. He should be in there. He should be. But then at the same time, you've got to look at all the stuff he's offering the team and what he's doing. So you can't really criticise him.
I think if he's going to play like that, we need to play a different formation. We need to have maybe Vinicius up there or Mora or something like that playing up front and playing
Even
Kane
Bale.
just behind him.
Even Bale playing like a Ronaldo type role and then Kane playing a 10. I think that could work. I really do. But it's difficult to criticise Kane, isn't it? Because he does so. I mean, there's only really him and Son and Bale have scored a few, but they're the only people doing anything for us, aren't they? You can't. I don't know. You can't really use it as a stick to beat him with, I don't think.
Right. Got another question from Rob Holt. Due to COVID and the fact Levy is tight as cramp, I can't see a big pot of money available to overhaul this team. Would selling Harry be worth the short-term pain for the long-term gain? I hate to say it, but the more I think about it, I think it will happen and he will come back at the end of his career to get the record.
Nah, not for me.
I don't know how, Levy's already on from Levy's point of view, he's already on a tightrope with the fans. You sell Harry Kane, I think you lose the fans. Everyone's going to regardless of whether we've got the money there or not. You sell arguably, the most successful striker in our recent history. What have we got?
Yeah, there's a difference between the club wanting to sell him and Kane wanting to go, isn't there? I think all Spurs fans would probably understand if he did want to go, because it doesn't look like he's getting Premiership medals at Spurs, does it?
Not unless something drastic happens. But I think with Kane, if he goes, I won't begrudge it. But all as Joe says, all of the blame will be laid at Levy's feet. His Levy's position is untenable now, I think, and even more so if Kane goes. If we don't win the League Cup final, I mean, even if we do win the League Cup final, but even if we don't win the League Cup final, if we don't get top 4, I don't think it's just Jose that's got to go. I think Levy needs to go.
Right.
I don't know. Oh, it depends on what basis. If it's bringing success to the team, then we haven't done it in 20 years, have we? If it's building the club up to be one of the best in Europe, then he's probably done a great job. The problem is, does that ever trickle down into us having ambitions to buy the best players in the world, pay the biggest wages? I don't know. It's a real tough one, isn't it? I don't think it's just black and white. I think there's so much.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of nuance.
Yeah, there is a real lot of nuance. Just want to see us be successful though, because it's just killing me that we always have great players, but we never have great teams, and it's this puzzle that we're always trying to solve, and it seems like so easy for other teams to just do it.
I don't want us to become the nearly men. You nearly won the Premier League, you nearly won the Champions League. I don't want that to be Tottenham's history. I'd love to say that the Champions League final was a blip, but so far it's not.
No.
Right. Next question is from Anna Elwood. If you could play in any game from the Spurs history, which would it be, and which player would you replace?
For me, I think I would play Champions League final, and I'd replace Sissoko, and I'd keep my arms well down.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Yeah, same for me. I mean, 2 minutes into a game, not even 2 minutes, it was 1 minute 20, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Killed us straight away.
Do you know what? I'd go a little. Sorry to put in. I'd go a little different. It was the. I can't remember the exact season, but it was the game where Crouchy got sent off the handball. No, Crouch. Was it Crouchy scored the own goal? He scored us into the Champions League the season before, and then against Man City the next season he scored the own goal or handball or something to send Man City into the Champions League instead of us. I'd replace Crouchy in that game.
Right. My answer to that question is because I'm a lot older than you. It was my first visit to Anfield, stood in the Kop, and we got beat 6-2.
Oh, I remember, was that early 90s?
Yeah, 92, I think it was.
Yeah, 92,
All my mates are Liverpool fans, and they had a spare ticket and said, "Do you want to go?" But you have to stand in the Kop.
Yeah,
That was brutal.
God.
I was getting pushed and shoved around. God knows what was coming down my legs. I think it was pissing down my leg or something. But that was brutal game. So that's my answer. You can't do it again standing in a Kop, but it was an experience. Right, let's see what else we've got on questions. Right, Ben on Twitter. Vinicius averages a goal involvement every 70 minutes across all competitions, but has played in just 168 minutes of Premier League football this season so far. What are your thoughts on his situation and future at the club after reports on us not willing to pay the asking price?
I don't think we should buy him. I think we've got an option to loan him for the next season as well. I think if it's on the same terms, so I believe Real Madrid, I think he's on 620 grand a week or something like that, I think. And I think Real Madrid pay like 400 of that.
Sorry, what was talking Bale or Vinicius? You said
Vinicius.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Bale.
No,
sorry.
Vinicius, yeah.
In that case, no, I don't think we should buy him.
Money's going to be tight, as he said before. We're not going to have that money. What is it, 37 million or something? His asking price. It won't be that now, obviously, but
yeah.
Why would you pay 37 million when you've got an English homegrown striker that's about to become a free agent at the end of the season in Danny Ings?
How is he going to be free?
As far as I know, he hasn't signed a new deal at Southampton. It's at his contract ends at the end of the season.
I thought he had about 18 months left. Oh, there's that Milik as well, isn't there, that was linked to? I think, I can't see us spending the money on him.
No.
Problem is, would Danny Ings come to Spurs?
I don't know.
That's
maybe.
Things now. So right, so you've got Sanson play, but they really want to come to Spurs playing second fiddle.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I think Ings would play a lot more than Vinicius would, though.
Oh, massively. I think, like having someone of Ings' quality, just even as a number two, like behind Harry, I think he'd get a lot more game time because there's a trust there's that trust there. Absolutely. Is a proven Premier League striker. He when on his day he does it regularly for Southampton. So why?
I think if Jose was, or Jose as he likes to be called, was here next season, I think that would probably be because he would trust him because, as you say, he's a proven Premier League striker. He's played in the Premier League for how many seasons now? 7, 8, something like that. Maybe a little bit less. He knows what it's about, and I think he could be relied on as a number two, or sometimes playing with Kane. But I mean, going back to Vinicius, I think one of the reasons why we haven't seen him, even though he's been scoring goals in the cup competitions and stuff like that, I think one of the reasons why we haven't seen him, I think it's been made clear to Jose early on that we probably won't be buying him.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, Jose has gone, well, I'm not going to be playing him if we're not going to be buying him. Why should I develop him I'm not going to be able to trust him, and I don't think that's the right outlook to have. I mean, if you've got a player there that you can use them, but
Edson Fernandez.
Well, my argument on Vinicius would be, well, just to save Kane from getting that ankle injury like he does every single season.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've passed February now, so he'll be fine now.
So American football season's over, so you know it's going to be all right.
Right, moving on to the next question from Kirsty Lee. I think the likes of Kane and Son are overweight and really need to rest up if we want to win the cup final. Just look at Son's injury last week. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was an easy one. Right, next question. Andy O'Donnell on Twitter. Not Spurs related, but what do you think about the squad numbers? I don't mean 1 to 25. I mean having 99 or daft non-consecutive numbers. Should be squad numbers be 1 to 30? Or how many youth players you have?
Yeah.
Because I've seen this in a lot of games where they have like 77 on the back of the shirts and that.
Yeah, well, it's just pandering to diva players, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at. I mean, I made a passing joke, but you look at the NFL. A lot of their numbers are end. You know, if you're a rookie going into a well-established team and you've been wearing, say, the number 10 shirt all your like college and high school career, you know, if you've been wearing that shirt you have to earn that shirt. So to me, that's I think it should be the same rules in normal football. Have you like you said, your fringe players on like your 20 to 30 sort of range, but then from that way downwards, they're the shirts that you earn. You look at our number 10 shirt and you look at how many good players over the years that have worn that. You know, you need to earn the right to wear that shirt, and that's how I've always looked at shirt numbers.
Yeah. You don't see it in football, do you? You don't see one player taking another player's number because he's earned it. And I think it should probably links to the position you're playing.
Mm.
Yeah, like the olden days.
Yeah, I think it can.
Names on the back of the shirts.
Whether or not that causes more rifts within squads or what, I don't know. But
I mean, they're all competitors, aren't they? You know, they're all super competitive, or there should be super competitive people playing in a team sport. But you know, having a competition between somebody in the same position as you, you know, and saying, right, okay, you've got the number this season, but next season I'm going to take it off you because I'm going to play a blinder this season, and they're going to have to give me your number, you know, and then that maybe pushes both players on.
Look at the interview that, or like some of the media stuff that Spurs put out when Bill rejoined. One of the first comments he said it's weird seeing his name with the number 9 behind it, and then he said there was a story where like Van der Vaart had number 11, and this was before Van der Vaart left, and he went up to Van der Vaart and just like, look, I want number 11, can I have it? And Van der Vaart said, no, you've got to earn it. You know, you've got to earn it from me.
He did earn that shirt in the end.
Oh yeah. But you know, that's like I said, having that little competitive edge within the squad. You know what I mean? Like, let's take who's our number 3 at the minute. It's do we have a number 3?
Number 3 is regular, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, like. We know Danny Rose has been cast aside, but Danny Rose was our number 3 for years. You know, if things would have gone differently, him and Reggie fighting for that number 3 shirt. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine the amount of competition between the players themselves? Yeah. It don't have to be nasty or malicious. It can just be a little bit of fun. But it's to me, it brings out the passion of players as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd say a bit of healthy competition between players. I mean, not having them at each other's throats, but healthy competition is a good thing in any team sport where you've got a squad that you need to use.
Definitely, I agree 100%.
Right, next question is from Gizmo, but I think we covered this earlier on. Do you think Dunk from Brighton would be a good option for us. Established Premier League player.
At the
At the
moment,
moment,
I
we've
think
got-
Onana would be a good option for us.
Whether it's just how much it'd cost though, with him being English and being one of Brighton's main players, I guess.
The same with that
Maybe.
Ben White, innit? He's quality as well when he wants to be.
I like that guy at Fulham, that Anderson guy. I think he looks quality.
And he's only on loan there as well.
Well, what's his team?
I can't remember. I know that I the commentator was talking about that on
Is it a French
when we
team?
played them. I
Yeah, I
can't
think
remember what.
Leon
I
or
think it is
someone.
a French team.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
I know it's not an English team.
Yeah, he's
It
on,
wasn't
on
Chelsea.
loan from Leon.
Leon, there we go.
We-
He was on Chelsea's books, wasn't he?
I don't know. I just think we need a centre half who's confident. He's got good judgment, powerful, not afraid to put it in. Just all the stuff that we haven't got now.
Yeah, he had a good game against us. He does look like a solid player.
Mm.
I'd take him. But Dunk, I'd take Dunk as well. Just somebody that's the Premier League experience. I think homegrown is a benefit, but it's not the be all and end all. I think, especially if we was to get rid of Dyer, for instance, for him or Sanchez, because they're both not classed as homegrown anyway, so you don't necessarily need to bring in a homegrown player.
It's a point I've just thought about. I should have probably brought up earlier. But we've got arguably one of our greatest defenders, like in our history, as part of our coaching staff. So like anyone who's part of our defense, you've got Ledley King there. You know what I mean? You've got Ledley King. So the facts that, to me, that's an advertisement for any defender to want to come to us.
It doesn't really mean anything to someone like Sanchez or Aurier, though, does it? It's not got the same thing. Like someone like, I don't know, someone like Dunk. I like the fact that they'd come into Spurs and actually thinking about it very much like Doherty and that antenna. Well, but these are megastars who are coming in saying, "I'm the biggest thing at the club." These are really the players that have got heart and they want to get to the top and they've got grit and determination. And I think these are the players that we need. Determined players with good quality defensive qualities. We just haven't got them, unfortunately.
Right, moving on to the next question. This is from Scott. Our players look completely shattered and burnt out. We have a bigger squad now, but Jose doesn't seem to be willing to play the backup players like Vinny. Does this show Jose doesn't trust these players and is burnout an issue for us?
Absolutely shows they don't trust them, yeah, and you can see why, because we get beat 3-0 by Dynamo Zagreb. That's the answer. You play these players, we lose games.
Yeah.
So,
I think I've covered. Well, I already mentioned about why I think Vinny doesn't get picked or used as much. I think that's because he has shown to be, he's been a good player for us when he has played. But yeah, I think when it comes to Vinny, yeah, definitely, that's the issue. We're not going to buy him, so I don't want to be using him. But our other fringe players, we can't rest players because how can you trust some of them players, to go
Just
out there and do a job?
On a slight tangent, do we think that Jose is, well, we know he's arrogant, like is the special one, but do you think he's self-aware of his brand and like his who he is, and that's why he won't pick the players that he doesn't trust, because ultimately he's putting his name on that team sheet? It's not just Tottenham's name that's at risk, it's Jose Mourinho's.
Yeah, but I mean, he's ruined his name, hasn't he?
Yeah.
you outweigh whether playing that player is going to get you the result, but they might get injured or they might be tired for the next match, against potentially not winning that game by putting a reserve player in. It just wants to win games. I think that's he just wants the best team out there because it gives him a better chance of winning the game.
But it's not working at the moment for him. Unfortunately for us, I don't think he's going to be crying too hard into his, sacks of cash at home.
What's he on? 15, 16 million a year?
I thought it was more like 20, to be honest with you. But he's on a lot more money than I'll ever make in a lifetime in a year. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, but so is Aurier. And I'd go after
that hurts.
I'd go after him first.
Yeah,
him and Sissoko. God, yeah. Move on.
Right. Lastly, I did a quick poll before the podcast started on should we sell Kane and Son and invest the money back into the team, and 29 people voted no, and 2 people voted yes.
Oh, where would we get someone as good though playing up top? We'd maybe sort the defence out, but then we'd have a problem with attack, wouldn't we? So it's
my argument in it, really a football argument. Would Levy put all that money that we get from Son and Kane back into the squad?
Yeah, use that.
I don't think he would. I honestly don't think he'd put what you'd say easily 200 million for the pair of them, give or take. I don't think he'd put 200 million back into the squad. I really don't.
Who could afford him? That's my biggest. I mean, Son, you're probably looking around about 70, 80 million, I'd think. Something like that. Kane, you'd be looking 150. But who can afford it?
I agree.
Big major teams.
No one. I don't think any team's going to be paying 150 million for a player within the next couple of seasons. I just don't think it's going to happen anymore.
I think there's maybe 2 teams that could afford Kane.
PSG and Man City.
PSG and Man City, and that's it. PSG, I think Kane would be interested in from a personnel point of view, but not from the league.
Nah. If Kane's gonna go anywhere, I'd set myself sights higher than PSG.
Yeah, and PSG are not a bad team. It's just that the league that they're playing is not a very good league, and I think Kane would probably feel it would be below him. He'd probably want to go to Spain, something like that. Go to Spain or stay in the Premier League and go to another team in the Premier League. But yeah.
Oh well, that's not even worth thinking about, is it? No. Is that the end of the question section then, Simon? Yeah. All right. Thanks for everyone who sent a question. That was brilliant. So we're going to just quickly finish on the predictions league, I think. Then, Pete.
Yeah. Let me just get it up in here in front of me. So we've over the last week, I don't think we've had any changes really. There was no correct score. Oh no, I think for the Arsenal game there was one correct score. Nobody got any correct scores on Thursday. So we've got up at the top. We've got joint first on 8 points. We've got Andy O'Donnell and Dan Lawrence. We've got on 6 points, we've got Steve, Casey, Ben Bailey, and Lee Morton. 5 points, we've got Barry Thirkettle. We've got a few people on 4 points as well. We've got Ed Patchett, Richard McCoy, and Simon, you're on 4 points. It's quite tight in 3 points. Me and Joe both got on 3 points. We've got Ben Gearing, Darren Platts. Matt, you're on 3 points as well. We've got Megan, Isabel, and Laura Metcalf. And then we've got quite a fair few people on 2 points. But I think the people to try and catch at the moment is definitely Andy and Dan up at 8 points. Yeah. It's a bit hard to predict scores at the moment. I think this is maybe the 3rd, 4th game now over the last few that we haven't had correct score predictions.
Impossible.
I
find it really difficult.
Yeah.
So, right, let's predict the Aston Villa game then, because that's tomorrow. We should probably end on that and how we see that game going. Joe, how would you see the game going?
It's going to be tough. It really is going to be tough. We're going to.
I think they've got Grealish, by the way. I think he's injured.
again, they've got Watkins, they've got options. So I can't see us coming away with a win, but I'm going to say 1-1. I can't see us coming away with anything more than a point.
Simon, how do you see it going?
To be honest, I ain't even thought about it. Are we at home or away at Villa?
We're away.
To be honest, I fancy Villa. I think the way we are at the moment, it's not going to improve. And if we do win tomorrow, it's going to be, well, do we feel any better? Have we got a goal in us? Maybe might get a free kick or a penalty. But I think Villa are just too good for us. So I'll go 3-1 Villa.
I saw some stats earlier. I think it's over the last 19 meetings. We've beat Villa 15 times. I think it worked out at. Yeah, we haven't lost 15 times or something like that. So I think we'll probably beat them.
Didn't we get beat by them twice last season? Or have I imagined that?
I think were they in Championship last season?
No, there was
no.
I'm pretty sure we struggled against them last season.
I think there was quite a few draws in there, but we have beaten them quite a fair amount over the last numerous amount of meetings. I think I'd probably go for a 1-0, 1-0 Spurs. I think it'll be nail biting, hair pulling, just man boggling stuff. But I think we'll probably manage to keep a clean sheet and just nick one somewhere on a counter. And that's it. I don't see the game being a good game to watch, unfortunately. Not for us Spurs fans, anyway.
So you're going 1-0. I think the same as Joe. I think I'm really not looking forward to watching it. It's got to the stage now where I don't even want to watch Spurs anymore because it's too stressful. But I think it'll be 1-1. I think we'll look real leggy. Villa will be up for it. I'm hoping Lo Celso plays a bit more because he looked really good the other night, although it was in a poor game, but he looks quite good. 1-1, I'll say. But it's a shame because we definitely need the points. We need to start pushing up that table if we're top 4 in it. But I'll go 1-1. All right, fellas. Well, thanks a lot. This has been episode 5. I'm sure the next one will be a little bit more lighter in tone and we'll all be a bit happier. We might even be, I don't know, in the top 4 by then. So thanks for coming on, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Call you Spurs.
The Glory Game, brought to you by Hull Spurs, an official Tottenham supporters group.